This is a video I've been meaning to make for quite some time because I've been meaning to practice what I preach for quite some time. And that is to always have a backup of your data, preferably one that is off-site, which is easier to say than to do. I mean, if you've just got a few smartphone pictures, you can use a cloud account or even burn a couple disks once a quarter to act as your disaster recovery storage solution. But if you're talking about dozens of terabytes worth of video, and we're talking video that could be needed at any given moment for smooth business operation, you better have something a little beefier. So meet Kamloops Server. Whether you run a small business or a $1 billion enterprise, Rackspace has your dedicated storage environments covered. Check out the link in the video description to learn more. So this project starts actually with undoing most of what I had planned from before. I had intended to use the same Norco RPC 4224 case from the high-speed SSD server, which can handle 24 drives on sleds with a SATA or SAS-compatible backplane thing, but iStar USA reached out and showed me this, the EX4M36-EXP, and my plans changed somewhat at that time. So at the front of this case, you'll find a 24 hot swappable hard drive caddies that work with 3.5 or 2.5 inch drives, some sick-ass beefy 120mm cooling fans, and this SAS backplane that connects on the inside with the usual Molex power connectors and SFF 8087 SAS connectors, with the difference, and this is cool, being that it doesn't actually require 6 SAS connectors for all those 24 drives. You can even use just one if you want, and the backplane handles routing that traffic to all the connected drives. Now, obviously, with just that one connector, you won't necessarily be able to run all of those bays at the same speed as if they were individually plugged in. But for an off-site backup server where we'll never do more than gigabit speed to the whole box, this is way more than enough. But hold on a second, Linus. Since when is more than enough enough? I thought this was Linus Tech Tips. Why aren't you sticking with the Norco case that drives every single connected drive individually at full speed? Great question, and we can answer it by going around the back of the EX4M36ESP. Yes, friends, that is another 12 drives back there, giving us a total of 36 drives of expansion. That, thanks to the built-in SAS expander boards, can be driven off of just 2 SF8087 ports. Absolutely perfect for an unraid deployment. Which doesn't mean that there aren't any compromises that we're making with a configuration like this. I mean, I get effectively only a 2U height enclosure inside my 4U case to install all the rest of my internal components. So let's meet those internal components, shall we? First is our motherboard, a Z9PA U8 server board from ASUS with a couple of features that make it ideal for this build. Number one is the IPMI Intelligent Platform Management Interface module that we've added to it. When you can't have physical access to a server because it's a 6-hour drive away, one of these is critical because it allows you to perform low-level functions through a dedicated special Ethernet port on the back that normally couldn't be done through conventional network control solutions like TeamViewer or remote desktop connection, things like altering BIOS settings or hard resetting the machine. Number two is that it's compatible with some hardware that we had lying around, like these 4 16-gig ECC DDR3 Kingston RAM modules that I've actually had kicking about the office since Kingston's sponsorship deal for that whole room water cooling project over a year ago, and this Xeon E5 2620 V2 6-core that I pulled out of our Storinator server when I needed a higher clocked CPU to overcome some SMB bottlenecking. So I could have tried to source a better CPU in this case, because while 64 gigabytes does give me the option to run some VMs, I suspect this machine won't do much more than store files, so I kept things pretty light. For cooling, I obviously couldn't stick with my go-to server heatsink, the Noctua NH-D9L, because of the limited height that I had to work with, so I opted for an NH-L12 with the top 120mm fan removed. And since this is only an 80-watt TDP chip with ample case airflow, it's not really a concern to just have that bottom fan on there. Next is our HBA card, and I've actually been using RAID cards, many of which I had lying around already, so it wasn't a matter of extra cost, for HBA or host bus adapter duty. But what I found out relatively recently is that even ones with good JBOD mode, so that's just kind of like an HBA mode where you just connect drives and they show up to Windows like they're just a drive, no RAID, they don't behave completely transparently, which can interfere with operating systems like FreeNAS and Unraid getting proper smart data readings from the drives. So I'm actually using an LSI 9308i HBA, so it has zero RAID capabilities whatsoever. Then I've got a couple of mini SAS HD connectors that I can use adapter cables to plug into my backplanes, leading us finally to hard drives. Yes, my friends, the 8TB Seagate Enterprise capacity drives are making yet another appearance here in all of their glory. These are only SATA drives, but for our workload, it really won't make any difference. And SAS controllers are compatible with SATA drives, just not the other way around, which you can learn more about here. So these are true enterprise-grade drives, not the shingled archival ones, and they're capable of their full read and write speed, so somewhere in the neighborhood of 230 to 240 megabytes per second, according to some write speed testing that we did when you're just hitting one drive at a time. Freaking awesome. They also offer excellent resistance to vibrations from nearby machines, a must for data center deployment, and a massive 2 million hour mean time between failure rating. With all of them installed then, so we actually had only 23 left after the ones we've deployed already, all that's left to find out is how much performance we can get with so many drives hooked up to a single connector. And actually, that is looking pretty darn good, thanks to the 12 gigabit per second SAS controller we're using and the rated internal bandwidth of about 2.4 gigabytes per second for that SAS backplane at the front. We could write to our array of 22 disks at about 2 gigabytes per second, more than we'll need even if we upgraded to 10 gigabit internet, since this server will be off-site. Freaking ballin'. Speaking of ballin', were you thinking you might want a solution that's a little bit less hands-on than this? Well, there's Rackspace. It's the top-tier managed cloud computing company, and they pride themselves on best-in-class service across all platforms. They've got over 300,000 customers in 120 countries with 10 worldwide data centers. Whether you run a small business or a billion-dollar enterprise, you probably have needs for capacity, so that is to say magnetic hard drives, or flash-based, so that is to say high-performance storage, and I can guarantee you they have some kind of a solution to meet your performance, security, network capacity, and compliance needs. I mean, they can handle anything. DAS, so that's directly attached storage, so it's great for like entry-level redundant arrays. They've got SAN, so that's high availability and reliability, fully redundant storage that's actually outside of the machine, like elsewhere in the data center, but with super high speed links. There's NAS with support for very demanding workloads, for example, virtualization and scalability up to 20 petabytes of capacity. Seriously, go do the napkin math. How much is that? Freaking incredible. And they've actually got public cloud and private cloud-based options available as well. So you can set up your own server with a scalable private cloud in your data center or theirs, and it's supported by Rackspace and VMware. They refer to their 24/7 365 support as fanatical, and they offer industry-leading service level agreements. So the call to action then is pretty simple. Rackspace has your dedicated environments covered, so check out rackspace.com/LTT. So thanks for watching this video, guys. If the video sucked, you know what to do, but if it was awesome, get subscribed, hit that like button, or even consider supporting us directly by using our affiliate code to shop at Amazon, buying a cool shirt like this one, instructions up there, or with a direct monthly contribution through our form, you get a cool little contributor badge. Now that you're done doing all that stuff, you're probably wondering, what should I watch next? Great question, and you should definitely check out our lightsaber, how to build a lightsaber and battle with them thing over on channel Super Fun. Make sure you get subscribed to channel Super Fun. We're gonna have lots of cool stuff over there.